You are tuned in to the Creative Frequency. Come with us as we explore the creative process with artists from all areas of the creative spectrum. The Creative Frequency starts now. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Creative Frequency. I'm your host, Kent Tarbox, and I wanted to take a few minutes to provide a couple of updates. You may have noticed I haven't posted a lot here recently. Had some scheduling issues with some people for the show, and we had one show where actually the audio didn't take during the interview. So that was kind of tragic, actually, because it was a great interview. We're in the process of rescheduling that so you can hear from another productive and highly creative artist here in Northwest Ohio. So that being the case, though, I wanted to take a minute and I wanted to discuss ways to enhance our creativity and just put some things out there for you to think about. You may notice me looking down. I've got my laptop in front of me because this is where I have my notes. So that being said, let's just dive right into it here. If you're returning, I'm glad you're coming back after the slight hiatus. So what I want to talk about is that we need to stay inspired, no matter the medium that you work in, whether you're painter, poet, photographer, just someone trying to create something meaningful. Today's episode's for you. There's 10 ways that I want to consider how we can enhance our creative process. Hopefully it's practical, hopefully it's honest, and hopefully it's usable techniques that can continue with you through your creative process or help you get unstuck. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you're just in a doldrum right now, in a rut. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Point number 1, let's create before we consume. So start your creative sessions before even scrolling, watching, or reading anything. The brain is fresh when it hasn't been influenced yet. 20 minutes, raw, uninfluenced creation can lead to more original ideas. Take that for what it's worth. 2, let's embrace our constraints. It sounds counterintuitive, but limitations can actually boost creativity. Think of these as creative exercises, something like going to the gym, something working out maybe. Use one color. Maybe just paint in a blue or a green or a red. Write a poem with a very strict structure, something that you have to adhere to. Go one place, sit down, shoot photos in one location. Don't wander about, don't do anything. Find a park bench, the corner of a coffee house, something anywhere. Sit down, take all your photos from there. What this does for you is it provides you the opportunity to force your brain into problem solving. And a lot of times that's where our creativity thrives. Let's build a ritual, not just a routine. A routine says, I have to do this. Okay. Nobody likes routine. Nobody likes to be told we have to do something or we want to do something. We have to do it. More of a ritual says, this matters to me. This is important to me. This is what I want to accomplish. So that being said, maybe you light a candle. Maybe you've got a playlist that goes in the background while you're working on your pottery. Maybe it's that same location in the library or in your house or in a park or something that you write from. When you go to these familiar places, what this does is it trains your brain to associate these cues with a creative flow. That I'm in a space now, that this is the space I feel most comfortable in when I create. And it allows you to relax and just start down that process. Go ahead. Number 4, let yourself make bad work. Perfection is creativity's biggest enemy. We're never going to do anything perfect. If anybody does, let me know. I'd like to know the secret because I'm certainly not perfect by any way, shape, or form. You need a lot of volume before quality. What that means is just work. Make stuff, create, write, photograph, whatever it is you think you have to do. And allow yourself the permission to create things that don't work. Okay. Not everything's going to hang in a gallery. Not everything's going to place in a show. Not everything that you create, people are going to look at it and say, wow, that's really great. And you're not going to look at it maybe even and say, wow, that's really great. Don't worry about it. It's not a failure. It's just another step in perfecting your process. I play a lot of golf. You go out and you can stand on the practice range all day, and even out there, you're gonna hit bad shots. Okay, it's part of the process. But the more you do it, the more you engage in it, hopefully those bad shots become lesser and lesser. And it's the same with art, same with being creative. The more creative you are, it just becomes more of a process, and it starts to minimize things in the creative process that you consider bad. Okay, but go ahead, make bad things. You never know, somebody may like it. Switch your medium up. Point number 5. Maybe if you're a writer or a poet, try sketching something, try drawing something. If you're a photographer like me, maybe you try poetry. Maybe you try painting, maybe you try pottery. The cross training, and again, think of that as a sports metaphor. Cross training makes you use parts of your body that you don't normally use in your daily physical activities. Okay, same thing. Cross training for your brain, cross training in creativity allows you then to come back to what you do and maybe look at it a little differently, or apply something that you learned, and it can spark unexpected ideas, right? Gives you an opportunity. Don't get stuck in just doing the one thing. Number 6, capture ideas immediately. Inspiration is unreliable. I think we probably all can relate to that. That some days you feel inspired, you can't wait to get up and get out and do whatever it is you do. And other days it's a drag. It causes you pain mentally, maybe physically. You just don't see yourself doing it. So capture the idea immediately. Okay. Write it down. Maybe a notes app, voice recorder, keep a notebook around. It might be a small idea at the time, but it can certainly turn into something much more powerful later. But it can only happen if you catch it, if you note it and document it. Because let's face it, we go through our lives and every day we're bombarded with things every day, ads, the internet, IG, social media, people at work, people you encounter. The world just comes at us all the time. And you may have this great idea, and by the time you finish your day, you may have totally forgotten about it. But if you have it right, if you write it down, document it somehow, you can always go back and revisit it. Step number 7, take breaks, take strategic breaks. Sometimes when you're stuck doing it, pushing harder isn't always the answer. We've all done this somewhere, I'm sure. You're at work and you're in the middle of a problem. Sometimes the best thing to do is just get up, walk away for a minute. Okay. Just step away, walk, go sit somewhere else, grab a cup of coffee, do something mindless. I don't care if you're just sitting there, watching the dogs at the dog park for 20 minutes. Your subconscious is still going to keep working on this, even if you're not. But it just allows your brain that second or minutes or whatever to just kind of focus on something else and kind of a refresh, just kind of a reset. Okay, so don't be afraid to take a break. The grind all night thing, I don't know, maybe when you're young, maybe when you're in art school or something, you have to do it. But you reach a certain age, you don't want to do it. Take that break. I think you'll appreciate it. Number 8, seek input, not validation. Feedback is useful, okay? But only when you're looking to improve, not to be praised. If you're out seeking validation for your work, I think you'll probably find you're going to be disappointed. You're not probably going to find the validation you think you're looking for, because people they may not know what you're looking for. They're going to have an opinion, and it may not be the opinion you want to hear. So maybe when looking for what you think is validation, think about it as feedback. Maybe ask them, when you look at a piece of work, or you're reading this piece of prose that I've written, or you're reading this chapter or something, what feels unclear to you? What don't you understand, or where did I lose you through that flow? What isn't happening for you? Where does the piece lose impact? Maybe it's just an object or something that's in the corner of a painting or a drawing or something that people just look at it and say, I look at that, I just lose it. So rather than validation, take the feedback, think about it, make the choice. You don't have to change anything. That's the great thing about doing art and being creative, is we create it, we put it out there. That's the way it is. But when you do seek feedback, This gives you in your art, your creative endeavors, a chance to evolve. And that's, I think, what we're always kind of maybe hoping for, striving for, is that as we grow in our creative processes, that we evolve. Step number 9, study, don't just admire. When you see a piece of work that you love, break it down. Why does it work? What appeals to? What do I see in that is just causing me to stand here and stare at this work in the museum or in a gallery or something or online? Do I know the techniques that were used to create that work? Is this a technique I can embrace? Is this a technique I do? Is this a technique I've never seen before? Be it in writing or painting or photography or whatever it is. Does it create an emotion? Am I having an emotional response to this? And if so, what emotion is it creating? What am I really feeling at the moment? Take all these things and study it passively. You don't have to take notes. It's not going to be an open book test. There's no exam. But instead of just looking at something, as we all tend to do, like Instagram is the eternal scroll, right? Old picture, yeah, that's cool. Old picture, oh, that's cool. Old picture, that's cool. Stop and look at one. Stop and look at the one that you think really means something to you, and look through it, understand it, reverse engineer it, take it from finished product, and think about what did they do to get to this point? How did they get to the finished product? When you do that, maybe it allows you then to sharpen your own instincts and your own creative processes. How do I get from the beginning to the end? And I guess the last point here is number 10, and this sounds quite obvious, but I think as we get older, or as we journey in our creative process, stay curious, not just productive. I think oftentimes we associate creativity with output. That, man, if I'm not outputting X amount of pieces a day, or if I'm not writing X amount of chapters a week, or if I'm not producing whatever it is I produce on some made up schedule, some self-imposed criteria, that I'm just not being productive. Well, that's not the case. It's not about output. Creativity isn't just about output. It's about input as well. Okay. And while staying curious, maybe read unusual things. Maybe read a genre that you wouldn't normally read. Maybe read a form of poetry that you wouldn't normally engage with. Maybe go to a modern art gallery. Maybe you're not a modern art person, but take the time, go there, and at least expose yourself to it, and give yourself the opportunity to explore. Don't be afraid to ask weird questions. I think most people will find that most creatives, they love talking about their stuff. Ask them questions. They'll answer you. You might get some strange responses. And if you've followed this show at all, and I hope you have, and I hope you subscribe and like and do all the great things that we do out here in the podcast world, there's been some weird answers a few times. There's been some strange responses to the way people look at things, the way they create. That's what makes this really cool. Is there is no one right way to do it. Curiosity fuels originality. Nobody would have created anything new if they weren't curious about it in the first place. Okay. Or they wouldn't have created something different if they weren't curious about it. I don't think you can maybe create if you're not curious at heart. That I must be interested. I want to find out about people. People intrigue me. I want to capture their emotions. How do I go about doing that? Well, I need a camera. Okay. Now I got the camera. Now how do I do this? So you're just continually asking yourself these questions of curiosity, and then you start to develop a way to address that curiosity and make it a reality. Okay? 10 quick things. Maybe, what are we? We're 15 minutes into this. Basically, I guess, to wrap this up, at the end of the day, creativity isn't something you wait for. It's something we build, we protect it, and we practice it. If you just wake up in the morning and you're waiting for the creativity gods to come down and go, boom, go out and be creative today, you're probably not going to be creative. But if you just work on it, protect it, practice it, whatever that practice means to you, that's what it takes. Try a couple of these techniques this week. You don't have to do them all. You don't have to do any of them, but don't overwhelm yourself with it. Just start. Just maybe look at one. Maybe one of these just hit you and thought, maybe I will give that a try. Maybe I will just paint in one color on Thursdays. Maybe for the next 3 Thursdays, all I'm going to do is I'm going to create a painting in green. And then the next Thursday, I'm going to create one in purple, whatever. Or I'm only going to I'm going to go sit somewhere and I'm going to photograph, but I'm only going to take 5 photographs. Or I'm only going to write 1 paragraph of something that I never write about. You see where I'm going with this, right? Hopefully if this sparked something for you, share it with the creatives around us. I mean, let's face it, this is a community. This is being around other creative people from whatever genre. It doesn't have to be the same one. And sometimes I encourage that as well. If you're a photographer, it's easy to hang around and talk shop with a bunch of other photographers. And I reference photography because that's the area I play in. Talk to somebody that paints, talk to somebody that writes, understand their process, understand what they go through, because the medium's different, but I think the creativity processes are quite similar. So, share that. Hey, get up, keep showing up for your work. Get up, do what it is you want to do. Do it with pride. Do it with conviction. If you're making a political statement, make your statement. If you just want to go out and paint pretty flowers, go out and paint pretty flowers. Do whatever it is you want to do. You want to knit, go for it. Okay? But at the end of the day, embrace the creative process, just embrace everything that comes with it. So I guess I'm going to say, and in conclusion here, I've got some guests lined up. We're working on scheduling. We're going to get back into the game here. I have recently retired, from my day job. So my scheduling is much more flexible now, and hopefully that flexibility leads to more interviews, better interviews, and continues to grow and build this community out here that I call the creative frequency. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, this will pop up in your feed, and we'll start back down the process, meeting the other creatives around us. Until then, appreciate it. Again, like, subscribe, follow, do all those really cool things. Tell your friends, stay creative, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for tuning into the Creative Frequency. You know what to do. Like, follow, and subscribe. Then join us again for the next episode of The Creative Frequency.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.